Thank you for coming to the school committee meeting tonight. Let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, so our first order of business is first to congratulate Mr. Morgan and Ms. Badger and their re-election. It was such a surprise. And we have Mr. Pizer with us here tonight, and he's going to give you the oath of office. If you guys want to step up and go around front for him. Or you can use the other one.
You can use the handheld, yeah.
It's wireless. See it right?
There you go.
Make sure it's on, that's all. Go.
Michelle Badger. Robert Morgan, you've been elected to a 3-year term through 2020 as a member of the Plymouth School Committee. Would you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear that you will faithfully and impartially perform your duties as a member of the Plymouth School Committee in accordance with the bylaws and charter of the town of Plymouth and the laws of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts?
I do.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Very good.
You got them from the front, I got the back.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Pizer, for making the time for us. Appreciate it. Now we have the nominations. We have to reorganize our first meeting after an election. You guys are there. You have the limelight tonight. Usually you'd be over there. So we need to reorganize first. That'll be our first order of business. So what happens is the chair, according to our policy, I will hand over the chairmanship to Dr. Maestas, and he will start the nominating process.
Yes, good evening. As Mr. Begley mentioned, after the election, there's a reorganization process for the school committee, and the process will be as follows. I will open the floor for nominations. After the nominations have all been made, we will give the candidates opportunity to address the school committee as to their desire to be the chair of the school committee. That is part of the policy that we have in our district. So that will be the process after the nomination is made and seconded. Then we'll give the candidates opportunity to speak. After that, we'll open it up for votes. And then at that point, after the voting has taken place, the new chair will take the chairman's seat, and then the rest of the reorganization process will be left up to the new chair. All right?
Everything except take the seat, we'll wait till the end before we switch seats.
Yeah, they'll take the roll, but we'll
Take the roll,
seat.
but not the seat.
All right? With that said, do I have any nominations for the chairman of the Plymouth School Committee? Ms. Burgess.
Yes, I'd like to nominate James Sorensen.
For the record, I have one nomination for the chair, for Dr. James Sorensen. Mr. Begley.
And I'd like to nominate Ms. Badger.
For the record, we have another nomination, Ms. Badger, for the chairman of the Plymouth School Committee. So we have 2 nominations. And at this point, I would like to turn it over to Dr. Sorensen to have a moment to speak to his desire to become the chair.
Well, thank you very much. I didn't know I was going to have to do this. But I have experience as chair I probably have been chair for 20 years. And I know all of the time and energy that Mr. Begley has put into it because I have been there before. And should you put me in the position of chair, I would only hope that I can follow his leadership because I know the commitment of time, professionalism, and intelligence that he has brought to that chair over the months and years that he's been there. And it'll be my endeavor to try to follow in the momentum that he has set forth.
Thank you. At this point, I would like to allow Ms. Badger the opportunity to speak for her candidacy.
I ask for your vote tonight because I know I can do a good job and work with you and together to make sure that we continue to move the committee forward. It has been an honor to work with Mr. Begley over the last 5 years as his vice chair, and I've learned a great deal from him. as part of the executive committee role that I've held as vice chair, I've really helped to keep the executive committee focused and on message and make sure that we are reaching the goals that are set by the committee as a whole. I want to continue to help lead the district in this way with Dr. Maestas and to make sure that we make our district better. I'll also bring with me what I've learned as vice chair and the fact that I feel that I'm a very approachable, accessible person that the community members feel that they can come and talk to. I also have a good rapport with the staff, and I also don't have any connections with the staff directly, personally, so that I wouldn't have any problems with the negotiations that are upcoming, which I'm sure will be very interesting. I also do my best to get out into the community, go to events and other things, and I think that's a really important part of being chair. And as a product of Plymouth Public Schools, it would be an honor to lead the community and move our district forward into the 21st century.
Thank you. At this point, we will take votes for the chair of the Plymouth School Committee. I'll go in order of nomination. I'd like to take votes for the chair of the school committee, Dr. Sorensen. If you'd like to vote for Dr. Sorensen, please raise your hand. We have 4 votes for Dr. Sorensen, for the record. Ms. Jargi, do you have those?
We have Dr. Sorensen, Mrs. Burgess, Mr. Morgan, and Mrs. Trishelli.
Yes. And next, we have votes for Ms. Badger. For the record?
We have Ms. Badger, Mr. Begley, and Ms. Hunt.
Thank you. I'd like to welcome Dr. Sorensen to the role of chairman.
And following the lead of Dr. Maestas, the floor is now open for the nomination of vice chair. Ms. Badger.
I'd like to nominate Ms. Hunt.
Ms. Hunt has been nominated for the role of vice chair. Is there a second nomination?
Second.
Is that a second?
Oh,
for that?
I was-
That's
I
okay,
was
you
gonna
second that.
second.
That's great. Is
Yes,
there a
I-
second nomination? Seeing none, the nominations are closed. We'll call for the vote for Ms. Hunt for vice chair. All those in favor? That is unanimous. The floor is now open for the nomination of secretary.
I nominate Mr. Bob Morgan.
Mr. Tristelli nominates Mr. Bob Morgan. Is there a second nomination?
I'd like to nominate Mrs. Burgess.
Mrs. Burgess has been nominated for vice chair. Is there a third nomination? Seeing none, we have 2 names on the floor for vice chair.
Oh,
Secretary.
correction.
No, secretary.
Mr. Chairman, it's for secretary.
Thank you very much, secretary. Thank you very much. I'm new to this. For secretary. And in the order of nomination, all those in favor of Mr. Morgan's nomination as vice chair, please indicate. That's 4 in favor. Do you have those?
Yes, I do.
Okay, and now for Mrs. Burgess. There's 2 for Mrs. Burgess, Mr. Bagley and Mrs. Burgess.
Sorry,
Go ahead.
I just thought you said vice chair when you nominated, so that's why I didn't vote for. I'm sorry.
Want to redo
Can we,
this?
yes, please.
Okay, so now, did I say it incorrectly again?
Just
No.
secretary.
We're doing secretary.
Secretary.
Thank you very
Yeah.
much.
Sorry, I was like a little confused.
Okay, so let's redo the vote for Mr. Morgan has been nominated for the role of secretary. All those in voting for Mr. Morgan, please raise your hand. And now, Mrs. Burgess has also been nominated for the role of secretary. All those in favor, please raise your hand. So the vote being 4-3, Mr. Morgan has been elected as secretary of the school committee. We now have a new executive board for the school committee, and at this point, I would like to take a very brief, perhaps maybe just 5-minute recess so we can rearrange our places at the table. So we'll be in recess for 5 minutes, please. Okay, we have finished our reorganization, and the next item on our agenda this evening is to receive our new student representatives. Dr. Maestas, you want to start with that?
Yes, I do. Tonight, we have 4 student representatives. We have Isabel Chung she is from Plymouth South High School, and welcome. And Megan Henry, you've been with us before, so she's faced a blast from the past. And she has been with us and is familiar with the process. And we have Ruby Norris, grade 11, and she is from North High School. And Eddie Payzant, right, Eddie? Yes. Okay. And so Eddie is a junior, and Ruby and Isabella, they're all juniors. and we have a senior in Megan. So she will be the senior member of the student group, and we're very honored to have you here tonight, and we know that you will represent our schools well in the year to come. And I'm not sure, do you have reports tonight?
We have a report tonight.
Yeah.
So,
Please go ahead.
All right. So last night was our Senior Athletic Awards night, and we had over 100 senior athletes be recognized, and it was a very successful event. Senior finals started today. Tomorrow is the band and chorus combined concert at 7 at Plymouth North High School auditorium. This Wednesday, there is a retired alumni teacher reunion from 4 to 7 to say goodbye to the Old South. And Friday is our annual class day starting at 8:30, and it's also the seniors' last day of school. And Bella is going to finish off the last half.
So spring sports are winding down, and teams are looking to qualify for tournaments during their final games. Plymouth South Senior Academic Awards are May 31st at 7. Plymouth South Preschool graduation is May 31st at 9 a.m. Senior dinner dance is June 1st at 6 at the Pomponessa Inn, and June 3rd at 1:30 is our graduation at Memorial Hall.
Okay, thank you. And now is there a report from North this evening?
There is no report this evening.
Okay,
but
that's
we
okay.
would just like to introduce ourselves. As Dr. Maestas said, I'm Eddie Payson. I am a junior at Plymouth North High School, and I am the Student Council Executive Board Vice President. And I am very excited to serve on the school committee for the next upcoming year. And me and Ruby really look forward to it.
And as Eddie said, I'm Ruby, and I am the class secretary for the class of 2019. And I'm also very excited, and we thank you guys for welcoming us onto your committee.
Okay, that's great, and we welcome you here as well, because we actually, we look forward to your input, and we actually need your input. So let me give you a little bit of, perhaps a little bit of advice. I'm going to repeat what Mr. Begley had said last year at this time, and probably years before that, that certainly your announcements every meeting about things that have happened and things that will happen are very important for you to tell us and for the public to pick up on public TV, on television, and to hear that. However, you can also bring ideas, concerns. If you think that there's something that needs to be, the school committee needs to pay attention to, run it by your building administrators. If they think it's a good topic to bring to committee, bring to committee. We'll listen. I can't guarantee we'll make any changes, but we will certainly listen to what you have to say, because it's all here for the students. So in addition to your announcements, don't hesitate to be a part of the committee. And one other thing, and Mr. Begley said this last year as well, if there's an agenda item that you feel your input would be valuable, let us know, and if we have to move it up early in the meeting so you can get home and do your homework, we'll do that. But let us know, okay? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, and now our next item is comments from attendees. Is there anybody attending tonight's meeting who would like to speak to the committee? Seeing no hands, the next agenda item is old business. We reviewed old business in detail at the previous meeting. I don't think there's anything to say at this point on old business. Perhaps new business. Anybody have new business for the committee? Okay, this is going to be the fastest meeting on record. Michelle.
So I've heard from a parent that they're having a problem with the dress code at Plymouth PCIS and with the short issue. I guess they're having problems finding shorts that fit the fit kind of the standards. And I don't know if you've heard anything or if anybody's heard anything, but I've heard that the students were very upset that it was being dealt with the way it was being dealt with. I guess they're being pulled to the front of the room and things like that, and being measured. But I don't know.
This is news to me. I know Ms. Badger sent me a message yesterday regarding this, but I have not heard anything. But I would recommend, if there is an issue like this, to bring it up, and we will talk to the building principal about it, which that has not been brought to my attention.
Okay.
I know that the dress code issues are a constant source of anguish for parents and also students and also administration in the district. But I do know that fashion changes from season to season and also year to year. So I know Dr. Campbell might have a comment to that.
The only thing I can add to that is, I know as the weather got warmer recently, that there was communication that was sent out by this school to all families through Aspen, just as a reminder to read the dress code, specified where it was in the student handbook, and just a reminder to folks on appropriate attire.
Had a few parents.
Ms. Hunt?
I think part of the key point to what Ms. Badger said too is about them being called up to the front. I have heard stories in past years where kids have been publicly reprimanded in front of their peers, and maybe that's something that we can look at it as how discreetly this is being addressed, because I have heard that story in the past, even last year. So maybe that might be the key to why the parents are upset.
I mean, I don't know if it's because of that they can't find the shorts that are long enough, or, so that's I don't know. They said they're very hard to find.
I would say that shorts are available.
But
I will also
having
say,
a teenage daughter, I can tell you it's hard.
but let me tell you, to Ms. Badger and Ms. Hunt, if students are being called to the front of the room and embarrassed because of their attire, that will not happen.
Right.
If it's happening now, it will
We
not
need to
happen.
know about it.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so if there's a parent concerned about it, they need to reach out to me,
Okay.
and they need to reach out to the building principal. But I will not tolerate a student being embarrassed in front of their peers. So please bring that to my attention, okay?
Do that right now.
Thank you.
Was there anything else under new business? Reports and proposals from the superintendent. Dr. Maestas.
Yes, I have a couple items to report on this evening. Within the school committee package tonight, you have a PDF, which is the Plymouth South High School Phase 2 Traffic Circulation Plan. And this circulation plan is going to be sent out to parents so they can get an idea of how to enter and exit the property at Plymouth South High School starting this summer. So it's a very, it's a detailed plan that identifies the traffic will flow from, it'll be a clockwise rotation. I'm not sure if, Kristen, if we can get that up on the screen, we can show that. But it would probably be helpful for everyone to take a look at that. So this will be going home, and also want to see if we can get this in the Old Colony for people that enter the campus. So as you can see, the diagram identifies the South Middle School to the top, and you can notice the location of the new Plymouth South High School, and down below you will identify the existing Plymouth South High School. So the old on the bottom, the new one is in the middle, and South Middle is on top. And you'll notice that the left-hand entrance to South Middle is the same, and you know that there is, based on the diagram, there is absolutely no rear entry to that parking lot. So we want students, teachers, everyone to realize that when you are coming onto the campus, you're going to take a right. If you're going to the high school, you would take another right as if you were going to the football field, football parking. Student parking is to the right. You keep going, and then you'll notice that we have other parking on campus. But notice that it is a counterclockwise rotation, and it is counterclockwise all the way around that campus. Keep in mind, the green is for high school traffic, the blue is for middle school traffic. All right? So we want everyone to manage that for about the next 8 to 9 months. Keep in mind that Plymouth South High School has to be raised, and the new roads will go right through that. And until that is done, this is the traffic pattern. All right? So please share this with people. We're going to get it out through social media. We'll get it out through Old Colony if Rich can somehow or another get some access to do that. And then we'll be sending this home to parents, as I mentioned before. All right. Next item tonight I have is the Hedge and West Elementary School. I know last year we did talk about, and we did have kindergartners from Hedge attend school at West Elementary due to space, and it looks like we're going to have to do that next year as well. So we did talk about it at our retreat this February, but it looks like we'll have 2 classrooms. Both kindergartens will be Hedge kindergartens will be at West Elementary. We do have space there. And parents have already been notified regarding that modification. And one of the things that we have realized in the Hedge district is increased enrollment in the Hedge zone. So that's causing some level of overcrowdedness in that building. And Hedge actually has the highest population in that building since we've had in my time. So it's gone up quite a bit. We are analyzing the enrollment trends. There seemed to be some motivation that maybe that wasn't going to happen for this year because maybe some drop in enrollment, but it looks like we're getting a little bit more enrollment than we expected. So we're projecting that for next year. Looks like two classrooms are available at West, and we'll have students transported, kindergartners, from the west boundary to from the Hedge Elementary boundary to the West Elementary School. And students from Hedge will be integrated fully with the kindergartners from West. Both principals are excited to be undertaking the option of having this happen at West. Okay, so that has already been talked about with parents. And also tonight, Ms. Dargy passed out your graduation parking pass. Yes. Remember that is the later graduation. We have the early graduation 9:30 at North High School parking lot. We will be there early. You'll have reserved spaces to the rear of north of the north parking lot. Okay, and we will also have reserved parking for school committee members behind Memorial Hall. So make sure you have that pass on you, and we will have some coned spaces for committee because we have some time in between, but just to make sure that you get that.
Last year there weren't quite enough, though.
You know, Ms. Burgess, we talked about that this morning, and we will make sure that we get enough parking. Okay. Gets a little hectic there, and if there's not somebody watching it all the time, people want to go and move cones and slide into a parking spot.
Yeah.
So as you know, parking in Plymouth is a premium.
Yeah.
But that blue pass should at least get you half a spot.
Does that conclude your report?
That's it.
Any questions to Dr. Maestas about any of the items on his report this evening? Okay, moving to the next item. The next item, it was the annual performance of the superintendent. In our package, we received the official write-up. Mr. Bagley shared it last meeting publicly, but we received the official write-up in our package tonight. Is there anything else to do on that particular topic? Mr. Bagley?
Can I make the motion?
Sure.
I would, I'm honored to make the motion that having received a positive annual performance evaluation at the May 15th, 2017 school committee meeting and in accordance with section 7.5 of the contract between the superintendent and the committee, payment of the fiscal year 2016-17 annual performance incentive will be approved as referenced.
Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Seconded by Mrs. Burgess. Any discussion or questions? Seeing none, we'll take the vote electronically on the motion.
Not ready. Oh, I didn't join
You joined the meeting?
Didn't
I
either.
don't join the meeting.
I'm not joined.
Yeah, there I am.
Everybody's voted in the
Ready.
affirmative.
Boy.
Unanimous. Oops. Sorry.
Ready to move on to the next agenda item, which is reports and proposals from committee members. Ms. Badger.
On Tuesday, we met as an advocacy group, and we wanted to see if adding a standing piece to our meeting, which would be kind of the health curriculum, and has it as a kind of a subtopic being the drugs and issue, like how we're educating our students and how we're making sure, in light of recent events, that was one of the things that we talked about in our advocacy meeting. So that is one thing. And then I just wanted to let everybody know that for Plymouth alumni, the scholarship, we have till May 24th to get those prime seatings, $20 a piece, PlymouthAlumni.net. So we hope that people will help us get more money for our scholarships for next year. That's it.
Thank you. Ms. Burgess?
Yeah, we all, of course, went to the Board of Selectmen and had a meeting with them. And I also went on Wednesday to the retirees luncheon. And I like that, and I think it's good to say, to be there with the retirees when they leave. And the other one is that for PYDC, the same thing you're talking about is that the alcohol piece of that program, we had sort of like a ribbon cutting with Pioppi's for the sticker shock kickoff is what it was. And that's when they're all going to put stickers, they all put that day stickers on their
Refrigerated doors.
yeah, refrigerated chest, and they'll come off on July 5th, because if they leave them up, people will get so that they don't see them anymore, and they'll put them up for the next bunch of events. But anyway, it was good. It was very well attended. It was a little windy. Everything was flapping around, but it was a good time. Yeah.
Other reports and proposals. Ms. Hunt.
I just have one thing. I know that the group for Susquehanna met last week. I wasn't able to attend the meeting. Maybe Dr. Maestas. But one thing I wanted, before you do that, is remind everybody, and I'm sending everyone a coupon now, is this Wednesday is the Bertucci's fundraiser, and they're going to be giving 15% back Wednesday, May 24th, from 11 a.m. to 9 a.m., dine-in, carry-out, and delivery. So if you have nothing to do for dinner or lunch that day, then that would be great, and you'll see it in your inbox soon.
Yes, I just want to follow up on the meeting. We did have a meeting last Wednesday. It's a great opportunity to spend some more time with students and families, sharing information about the trip. We talked about a packing list, some of the do's and don'ts when you travel internationally, especially to Japan, some of the cultural pieces that they should be aware of. We also talked about the aggressive fundraising that they have embarked on, and they have done very, very well. It's one of the most successful groups, summer travel groups, and they put a lot of effort into it. They have more events planned. They also brought up the idea of doing a get-together for the entire group to bond a little bit more, and we'll be planning an opportunity for that. Be working with Dr. Sorensen on that opportunity. And we also were very happy to know that everyone is paid up, and at this point, all the money that they make, a check will be cut from the town to the families to help reimburse some of the expenses because of all the fundraising that they're doing. And we did get a little bit of a rebate from the travel agent because the tickets came in a little less than what we initially thought. So that will help. But they're extremely excited. I think the students really understand the nature of their responsibilities as being an ambassador of the town of Plymouth. So they're very excited, and I believe the chaperones will be very, very impressed with the students that are going there, are very well prepared, very excited, and looking forward to it. Dr. Sorensen also brought along with him some ID tags so that they could put their names on their bags. I talked a little bit about dress, and I talked about packing tips and getting through customs and things of that nature. So it was a really good night. We were there for about an hour and a half, but it was a well-attended meeting.
Dr. Maestas said that they seemed very prepared. He got a question about jet lag. One of the students wanted to know how to recover from jet lag.
You say it's worse when you come home, right?
When you come home, that's when it kills you.
I would add, having been at that meeting, I would add that where I was sitting in the lecture hall, there were perhaps maybe 3 families, parents, and ambassadors sitting around me, and they all get along really well. There was a lot of talk back and forth. They know each other. It was like a really congenial group. Mrs. Burgess.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, did you mention the 99?
Well, that's
That's
coming up on June 6th.
Sixth, okay.
Yes, and I mentioned that at last
Yeah, you
week's
did,
meeting.
so I wrote it
Meeting?
down, and then you
Yeah.
didn't mention it, so I said, whoa.
Yeah,
is that
well,
all?
this one's more urgent, so I wanted to
Oh,
mention
okay.
that one.
Yeah, okay.
Under reports and proposals, I had the opportunity to judge the senior projects at North the morning I saw you.
Yeah,
You were there
Wednesday.
for the last Wednesday morning. And that's always fun to do. Anything else under reports and proposals? Okay.
The only word I want to say is I've forgotten to say that Pioppi's had donated $1,000 to the PYDC that day.
Wow.
Yeah, so to help out with the alcohol problem.
Wow, very good.
Yeah, they did. So we should recognize Pioppi's for that.
Thank you.
I'm glad you did that. We did not have a building committee meeting since our last meeting, so we're now down to the minutes, and we'll start off with the minutes of April the 1st. What's the pleasure of the committee?
The warrant
Actually-
first.
Oh, it's a-
warrant.
Oh, the warrant, thank you very much.
I'm not with the meeting.
We
Oh,
need the
here we go.
language on the
I got
warrant. You have it?
Yeah, it's on here.
Okay.
Whereas school committee members have been provided with a copy of the cost center transfer and transaction summary report and the warrant for review, I move that the Plymouth School Committee accept and approve the report and accounts payable warrant number S052517 dated May 25th, 2017, in the amount of $727,895.94 as presented.
You've heard the motion. Is there a second? Mr. Begley is the second. Any questions on this motion? All those in favor? We'll vote electronically. And that's unanimous. And now the minutes. We'll start with the minutes of April the 1st. What's the pleasure of the committee? Mr. Bailey?
I'll move the minutes for April 1st.
The minutes have been moved as presented. Is there a second? Mrs. Burgess is the second. Any questions on that minutes, April the 1st? Okay, we'll take the vote then. And that's a unanimous vote as well. And now we have the minutes of April the 10th. Ms. Badger,
I move we accept the minutes of April the 10th as presented.
we have a motion. Is there a second? Mr. Morgan is the second. Questions on the motion? I have one correction, and it's the last paragraph on the bottom of page 4. There is a sentence referencing something I said that needs to be changed. I'll read what it says, and then I'll read what it should say. It says, Dr. Sorensen asked if Chromebook enables student to speak in their language and is response in spoken language. It's close. It should read, Dr. Sorensen noted that at the National School Board Conference, Apple presented upgrades to the software that enables students to speak and write in their native language and receive a translated response. Okay, now, anything else on the minutes of April the 10th? And with that correction, we'll vote. All those in favor, please vote electronically. And that's a unanimous vote. Oh, wait a second. Oh, there's one abstention.
I was absent.
That's right. And now April the 24th. Mr. Bagley,
I will move April the 24th.
seconded by Mrs. Burgess. Question to April the 24th. Okay? Please vote. And that's a unanimous vote. And that concludes our agenda this evening. Mr. Bagley.
One little thing, I just noticed when we went by in our haste there, we skipped over the subcommittee and
That's what I was gonna
liaison.
bring up.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's all the way up in
With the reorganization.
section 2D.
2D.
B. Subcommittee liaison. Oh, okay. Yeah, actually, that's, I'm glad you brought that up to my attention. The way we're pretty much the same committee. Well, we are the same committee. So what I'd like to hear from committee members, you could certainly email me. If you're comfortable with all your assignments and you don't want to make any changes, just say, I'm fine, you know. But if you want to make some changes or you have some preferences, please let me know that as well. Mr. Bagley, you'll have to make some changes, I would think.
Yep.
Okay? Okay?
Good.
Any questions on that? Clear? So just get that to me, and I'll try to have it together for the next meeting.
Very good.
Okay. Any other business? Okay, we stand adjourned. Thank you very much.